So I'd like to talk today about mental tendencies. So there's a sweet little dog walking out beside me as I'm here about to talk about conditioning and mental tendencies. Hello, little one. This is a topic that's really near and dear to my heart because there are a lot of schools of thought on the proper way to address conditioning as it arises in the light of awareness that you are, that can see these things as they come up. It seems the mind wants to throw us all kinds of things as we really start to awaken and deepen into the truth of our nature. And I used to see this as problematic. I thought they were things that were coming up that I had to get rid of. And I worked very, very hard to try to get rid of them. And all of my effort was in vain because it seemed to only keep them there. And more would come on more strongly. Feelings of inadequacy, deep insecurities, all of those kinds of things, painful feelings. Then one day, after many years of listening to Gangaji, I heard something, and I must have been ready to hear that. How necessary it is to really feel what's there in the body. And this changed everything for me. Instead of trying to pray things away, as if there was somebody out there that could take it away, right? Instead of doing all these things to try to get rid of or to try to ignore them, which was another form of resistance for me anyway. I finally just intuitively began to turn toward them. Instead of resisting them, I was actually, in my mind's eye, turning back toward what was there and allowing what was there to be felt in my body, to explore the feelings that were arising. And what I discovered in doing that was that they weren't here to bring me down. These things were coming to free me. Perhaps, as crazy as it could sound to the mind, it's almost as if the mind was trying to purify itself in the light of my awareness. And as I began to see it more in that light, it felt truer. It felt more in integrity with my deepest knowing that there's nothing that's out there against us. Those are fabrications of the mind. So in the East, they would oftentimes teach, just ignore, it's garbage of the mind, and it seemed like it was kind of a condemnation of these things, whether it was insecurities or resentments, whatever it was. So I stopped looking at it from an Eastern view, and I started looking at it from what was true here in my heart. And each one of us has to discover what that looks like for us, because I don't think my way is your way. But I can share with you how I came to realize mine, and hopefully that can open you to exploring what's true for you, because no one else has your answers, no one else holds your truth. And so as I explored, what I discovered was that the mind, the body, the mind, and the feelings, the emotions, this is a single unit. It's all working together. And if I am open to what is revealing itself, and I let myself feel what's there without judging it, without judging the tendency, the mental conditioning that wants to keep coming back, if I just let it come and then begin to really explore these feelings and allow myself to open to something deeper that may be fueling that. What is this belief that I haven't seen yet that keeps this coming around? What is it what is this trying to show me? And very often you will discover that there's a pattern. And you can do this either through just contemplation and investigating. And you can do this through inquiry, but oftentimes people think they can inquire a little bit, get an answer, and then they're satisfied. But the true inquiry allows you to question all your answers to a place where there are no answers, and where you get to it, that emptiness of no conclusion. That's the ideal place, because that's where the freedom is. Because any conclusion the mind can draw can be changed, only to try to find another conclusion later. So it's a rat race. It's the very thing that fuels the hamster wheel and keeps the hamster of your attention on the seeming obstruction in the moment. So I think the great gift of exploration and investigation is that we get to undress what presents itself as a potential problem or a deep ache in the soul, like feelings of unworthiness, feelings of not being good enough, feelings of being superior, inferior, whatever it is. There are always two ends of the same stick. They're of the mind that has its pairs of opposites that are really always the opposites of the same very thing. And that is the true insecurity and the deception of the mind that thinks it can know, but can never know. Because it is actually the shadow presenting itself in its conclusions. Thich Nhat Hanh used to love to quote the Buddha in saying that all views are wrong views. So what does that mean? It means to see clearly in the moment. To see with pure perception is to be aware of the judgments of mind and how it wants to go into condemnation, how it wants to go into dividing experience into good and bad. And once we can see it, how the mind operates, and we can see it without judging the mind, then we're beginning to silence that inner critic that always wants to criticize what it's projecting. We see things in others we don't like. We think it's about them, but it's actually a projection of something we don't like in here. It's actually self-condemnation projected onto another. Because in here, deeply inside, there's something that doesn't know any other, and everything is received as being about your own self. When this is taken to heart and discovered to be true for yourself, then the compassion and the deep acceptance and the love that you feel for your own self, for your own mind that is caught in this limitation of thinking that it knows. Anything it knows is an absolute limitation to the boundless potential of every moment. And to discover that for yourself is to tap the inner guru that reveals the light of that truth to you, so that your experience of it is authentic. It isn't just information taken in and trying to apply it. That's just more mental stuff going on. It's just the way that the mind tries to learn better things to do and put into practice, and it's just the same hamster wheel under the guise of truth. It's learned more and trying to mimic what's real. I mean, how present are we with someone if we're having to think about how to be present with someone? It's quite different, isn't it, than actually just being here without any thought of anything other than listening. And who is really listening anyway? When we inquire deeply, we see that we can't find who it is that's really listening in there. And this mystery reveals itself in that moment. Just that simple question. Who sees? Who listens? Who hears this? Who speaks this? We are so deeply intimate with our truth, as the truth itself, that there's really nothing outside of it to know it. And anything that thinks it can know it is the false Buddha on the side of the road. So to just be this, we can't practice compassion. Compassion flowers naturally from this place. And this is real investigation. This is true inquiry. To undress the very thing that wants to project out onto the world how we think it should be. That's just that inner dictator taking how it uses its voice for self-condemnation to condemn everything else. But once it's been met in the heart of your awareness and been accepted for just exactly as it is without trying to change it, because trying to change it only, again, fuels that hamster wheel. It's radical acceptance, deep, unconditioned acceptance of yourself exactly as you are. And the love of that, to feel yourself as unconditioned love and acceptance for your own self, quite naturally experiences itself as that with everyone else. And it's real, it's authentic, and it's you. Thank you. Namaste.